I have a picture of holding these two guitars. There was one guitar that someone made for me. It's a V, white V with like black stripes on it. And if you look at it, you're like, oh, that kind of looks like the guitar from Van Halen 1. It is a replica. I have so many Van Halen replicas. Do I try to play like Eddie Van Halen? No, he's got his own thing. The only thing I've ever tried to bite is kind of pushing the limits of mid-range, even with such a low tuning. But I'm a huge Van Halen fan, and there was something that I did the other day. I don't remember if I was talking about this in the Champagne Room. I went on Ben Burgess's show the other night. We were talking music for a bit, but someone posted the follow-up record to 1984, which is the first record with Sammy Hagar. And I think that record I think that Hagar years in general, for a lot of people, get a lot of flack. You know, that Joe Dirt skit kind of had the same effect for Sammy Hagar that Biggie lines about, you know, you're played out like Kwame and those effing polka dots. Where for some reason people think Kwame's still wearing polka dots when Biggie says that line, which he wasn't. And he actually wasn't really doing anything musically when that came out. But it just sounded cool. And there's that line in Joe Dirt where the main character says, I like Van Halen, not Van Hagar. But someone posted a 4K remaster of the 5150 Live show, because Van Halen actually had released it on VHS, as many bands released a lot of live concerts, just VHSs in general. And I was blown away by how tight the band sounded and how good that live concert was. And one of my favorite songs of any era of Van Halen is on the 5150 Best of Both Worlds. But I wanted to just hear the difference. And so I played Van Halen 1 to 1984 in succession. They're pretty short records. I think they average about half hour each. And I was writing something. I think I was finishing actually an article that's coming out this week on Sublation that Alex Herbert and I wrote. It's kind of the preface for our upcoming book that'll also be coming out on Sublation as well. And as I'm writing, I'm listening. And, you know, Van Halen 1 through 84, there is classic songs on every one of those records. But 1984, maybe they hit the limit of what they could do with David Lee Roth before they turn into parody. And that to me feels like one of those things that people forget. They're younger kids, because the first record is 1978. And after 1978, an album a year, pretty much until 1984. And these guys are touring like monsters. Eddie Van Halen still steps away for 5 seconds to go, you know, record the guitar solo on Thriller. David Lee Roth had actually done a solo single, California Girls, in between that. And that's when the band breaks up and all that other stuff. But if you look at what Roth does with his solo venture, I really don't think they were on the same page anymore. I've said this before on the show. It's not your first couple records. If you have 3 records that are successes, you're making some money. So by the time they get to Fair Warning, they're making some serious money. And, you know, you can tell there's some money being made. And does the ego mess with them? Maybe a little bit. Having an older person like Sammy come in, because Sammy's a little older than them. And Sammy also had a career in the 70s with Montrose. And he had his own solo hit with I Can't Drive 55. Even as a little kid, I was like, oh, why is the I Can't Drive 55 guy on this Van Halen video? But go back and listen to 1984 in its entirety. And it's their best singles. But you can hear in Jump. Jump is the song that's letting you know that they've kind of outgrown some of the silly antics of Van Halen 1 and 2. You're not going to get no more Ain't Talking About Love. You're not going to get any more covers. You know, this is a band that understands pop sensibilities. They understand big choruses. Even on the first record, they have big choruses. So 1984, in my opinion, is peak Roth era Van Halen, and it's a sign for what's to come, because 5150 really doesn't tell you the full story, in my opinion. You need OU 812 to really let you know that this band is a mature pop group. How do I know when it's love? Oof. Love that song. Kushlik says, but I want to talk about love. Well, Kush, as much as you talk about that horrible group, Blink-182, I shouldn't say that. A buddy of mine that I've known from touring, his band is opening for Blink-182. So shout out to Astronaut. Oops, wrong thing. Shout out to Astronaut. Congratulations, Casey. Opening for Blink-182. That's big. That's huge. Hopefully they give you some real money. Also, someone said they mentioned Voivod. Voivod is on the playlist. Of course they're on the playlist. It's 1984. That's their debut record. Why would I not have one of my favorite bands? Why would I neglect them for putting them on the playlist? Why don't you guys quit asking me questions and just go to the goddamn playlist, huh? Just do it. You know what's going to happen if you don't?
We coming for you, nigga.
Exactly.